Welcome back to Let's Chat, your weekly download on marketing's biggest shifts. This week, we're talking about how AI is reshaping the Martech stack, not just adding new tools, but redefining how work gets done. So let's dive right in. I think a lot of marketers listening, you might be feeling this tension right now. It's that classic challenge, isn't it? Budgets feel kind of static, maybe even shrinking, but the expectations, they just keep rising. That pressure to do more with less. In fact, Gartner's 2025 CMO Spend Survey really highlights this. Found that 59% of CMOs still feel they don't have enough budget. Now, that's down a bit from 64% last year, but still, that's a big majority feeling stretched thin.
Yeah, it is. And what's fascinating here, I think, is how CMOs are actually adapting. They're not just, desperately slashing costs everywhere. They're thinking bigger, more strategically about where those limited dollars should go. If we connect this to the bigger picture, there's this really significant shift happening. In 2025, nearly two-thirds, 61% of CMOs now see marketing primarily as a profit center, not just a cost center anymore.
That completely reframes things, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. And this raises an important question. How does that change their investment priorities? Well, we're seeing AI automation, along with things like data-driven optimization and integrating advanced tech, climb right into the top three productivity plays. So AI isn't just some shiny object. It's becoming central to the strategy for staying lean, focused, and, frankly, responsive.
Okay, so the strategic focus is clearly there. AI is seen as key. But here's where it gets really interesting. You'd think with all that focus, success would be widespread, right? Like AI projects delivering value left and right. But the data tells, well, a slightly different story. Even with more companies adopting AI, only about 1 in 4 say their projects have delivered actual measurable ROI. And get this, only 54% of AI projects even make it out of the pilot phase, just over half. So what's going on here? What does this mean for you, the marketer trying to make AI work? Why the disconnect?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And the blockers, well, they're not always what you'd expect. It's not always a purely technical problem. Often it's operational. Informatica's 2025 survey of global chief data officers really pointed this out. They found 43% citing data quality and readiness as the top challenge, and another 35% pointing to a lack of skilled talent and just general data literacy.
Data quality.
Yeah.
That always seems to come up.
Always. But what's truly eye-opening is this. Something like 80% of the work in AI projects goes into data wrangling. Not the cool modeling part, but just getting the data ready, cleaning it, structuring it.
Wow, 80%.
Yeah. And many organizations, they just underestimate the deployment costs, or they don't have that cross-functional buy-in you really need. But, there's good news here, too. Companies that actually invest in training their teams on AI, they report a 43% higher success rate. And those marketing and sales teams that manage to scale AI, they often see like 10–20% average ROI lifts. So the gap often isn't the AI's capability, it's organizational readiness. And that's something you can fix.
Okay, so bridging that gap.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's less about ripping everything out and starting over and more about evolution.
Yeah.
You can't just bolt AI onto old ways of working, right?
Right.
Adding new tools won't help if your processes, your teams are still stuck in like pre-AI workflows.
Exactly. You've got to evolve how you work. And one key area is moving from static calendar-based campaigns to more responsive workflows. Traditional marketing often runs on dates. Send this on Tuesday, follow up on Friday. But AI thrives on signals, real-time behavior.
So thinking more in moments, not months. Using triggers.
Precisely. Thinking in moments, using event-based triggers, predictive scores to guide journeys dynamically based on what someone does, not just when the calendar says so.
That makes so much sense. And I guess that ties directly into the content side too, right?
Exactly. You need to build modular content that AI can actually pull apart and remix for the situation. Think about it. AI can't do much with content that's locked inside a static PDF or one big, rigid email template.
Right.
So if we connect this to the bigger picture, it means really organizing your assets differently by segment, by customer journey stage, by use case. So the AI can dynamically pull the right piece at the right time for personalization. It's not just creative work, it's like architectural work for your content.
So it's the tech, it's the workflows, it's the content, and it's also the people, isn't it?
Absolutely. That's maybe the biggest piece. Upskilling your current team, hiring for AI fluency. It's critical. This AI shift, it's really cultural. Let's face it, most of us marketers weren't trained for a world where AI generates content or runs journeys autonomously. What's fascinating here is a finding from Boston Consulting Group. They found that leaders really succeeding with AI, they put about 10% of resources into the algorithms, 20% into the tech and data, and a massive 70% into people and processes. So this implies you need to consciously identify those skill gaps, invest in training, maybe hire for new kinds of hybrid roles, things like, journey architects or AI content strategists, even prompt writers. It's about building that internal capability.
These aren't necessarily radical changes, but they sound really foundational for you, the listener, if you want to turn AI from just an experiment into a real competitive edge. And if you're ready to dig deeper on the how-to, Iterable's checklist for unlocking the power of AI offers a pretty simple step-by-step guide. We'll have that linked in the article for this episode. Okay, let's unpack this next big shift, because for a lot of marketing teams, generative AI, that was the big entry point, wasn't it? Helping draft emails, summarize reports, scale up content creation, useful stuff. But it feels like the spotlight is moving a bit.
That's a really good observation. And what's fascinating here is while Gartner's 2025 tech marketing benchmarks show Gen AI adoption kind of stabilizing, like 39% of tech marketers budgeting for standalone Gen AI tools, same for 2024 and 2025. That plateau isn't really a slowdown. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it's more a sign that Gen AI is becoming embedded, baked into the Martech platforms you already use, your automation, your personalization, your CMS.
So it's becoming table stakes.
Exactly. Less of a separate tool, more of an integrated capability. So this raises an important question. If Gen AI is moving into the background, what's taking center stage now?
And that would be agentic AI, right?
Yes, precisely. Agentic AI. While Gen AI is great at creating content or summarizing things, agentic AI is built to execute. It can perceive signals, make decisions, take actions, and adapt all on its own without constant human oversight. Think about orchestrating complex customer journeys based on real-time behavior, or suppressing messages automatically if someone just bought something, or even shifting channels on the fly if an email bounces. Agentic systems can handle that autonomously.
So it's AI that does things, not just suggests things.
Exactly. And it's catching on fast. Deloitte reports 25% of companies using Gen AI will pilot agentic systems in 2025. And that number expected to double by 2027. Iterable's own AI agent, Nova, which was mentioned in the sources, is an example of this. It aims to proactively close that gap between insight and action, turning signals into automated journeys right within your existing workflows.
Okay, so the tech is evolving fast. But what does this all mean when you're trying to navigate this, frankly, overwhelming Martech landscape? Over 15,000 tools out there, apparently. It feels like the real skill for you, the listener, is figuring out how to choose wisely.
That's a huge point. And this raises an important question, maybe one of the most critical decisions you'll face. Do you go for AI that's built into your core platforms, or do you try to bolt on separate AI tools? What's fascinating here is the difference in how they operate. Built-in AI, like the Nova example, is designed to be seamless. It uses your data, understands your specific language and taxonomy, and works within your existing strategy. It's native. Bolted on AI, well, it might offer a really powerful solution for one specific task, but it often ends up creating new silos. You get governance gaps, maybe extra manual work, just trying to sync data between the bolt-on tool and your main system. It can get messy.
Right, adds complexity. So for you listening, what should you really prioritize when evaluating these AI tools? What makes a good choice?
Yeah, good question. If you connect this to the bigger picture, I'd say prioritize tools that are explainable. You need to be able to see how the AI makes decisions. Transparency builds trust, and you might need to override it sometimes. Look for tools that fit natively into your stack. AI should work across your channels, data, and teams, not create another island. Make sure they support experimentation. You need to be able to test and iterate quickly without needing a big engineering project each time. And finally, strong governance is absolutely key. Think about access controls, version history, audit trails. You're managing risk here, not just playing with cool tech.
Makes sense. And, this is important, what should you be actively avoiding? What are the red flags?
Definitely avoid tools that are black boxes. If you can't explain how it works to a stakeholder, you probably shouldn't be scaling it. Big red flag. Steer clear of tools that create new silos. If it pulls data out or keeps insights locked away from your main systems, it's likely to cause more problems than it solves. And avoid tools that require really heavy upkeep. If your team is constantly having to retrain models or manually sync data just to make the AI work, that's not efficiency, that's drag.
And maybe one more, possibly the most crucial. Avoid tools that lack good enablement. If your team isn't properly trained, supported, and confident using it, even the smartest AI tool is just going to sit on the shelf, right?
Exactly. that human factor again. In 2025, AI isn't just another feature, it's becoming foundational. But without the right systems in place, the right talent using it, and real operational clarity, even the most advanced AI tools are going to underdeliver on that huge promise.
That's a wrap on Let's Chat AI Martech Stacks. Whether you're drafting with Gen AI, optimizing with agents, or just figuring out where to start, the goal is the same. Let AI do the heavy lifting so your team can focus on what matters. If you're ready to turn ideas into action, download Iterable's checklist for unlocking the power of AI linked in this episode's sources. Next week, we're sharpening pencils and strategies for back-to-school marketing, looking at how brands can show up smarter for students, parents, and planners alike. See you then, same place, same chat.